So the plan today is to take my new Mathews V3 27 to a local archery shop. More specifically, this is called Texas Archery. It's located here up in North Houston, and the plan today is to purchase some brand new, better shooting arrows, better shooting than what I was using in the past, and at the same time get my new Mathews V3 paper tuned to make sure it's an efficient shooting compound bow, so when the time comes I'm able to deliver a more ethical kill. And as I stated earlier in my other videos, I'm a beginner archer, a beginner bow hunter, and I am tagging you guys along on my growth because it really intrigues me, the sport of archery and bow hunting. So let's see what we can do today. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I want you guys to meet Raymond. He's the manager of this place, but in order for you to really know who he is, he's going to talk about who he is. What's up, Raymond?
How are you doing, man? Yeah, guys, just like you said, my name is Raymond. We're here today at Texas Archery. Myself has been here probably going on 10 years. Today we're going to talk about some arrows. We're going to do some fine tuning, get them paper tuned.
So these arrows that we have right in front of us, what are these brands right here?
So this arrow right here is an Easton Axis. It is the match grade series, so it's .001 straightness. Tight tolerance arrow if you want the most accuracy out of your equipment. Also, we have a Black Eagle X Impact, also .001 straightness. Very good arrow as well. We're going to talk about f.o.c. and a few things like that that you may or may not want in your arrow setup.
So real quick, why would you recommend someone to go with the Easton Axis match grade?
So I shoot this arrow for many reasons, but first and foremost is a .001 that we already touched on. Two, it's a light enough arrow. It allows me to be able to stack weight up front without having a 600 grain arrow that I can only shoot out to 40 yards. Even though I may not hunt at 80, 90 yards, I like to have fun and plink at the house and shoot arrows at that distance. That way when I do have a 20-yard shot, it just makes it that much better. Right here.
Man, you're just a little bit late.
So these are all our fletching options. So do you want to, is blazers okay for your
Blazers
fletching?
is good, so that's
okay.
a good point. So me being a beginner archer, man, I don't know much about fletching and vanes. How important are they for, arrow flight
Fletching
and stuff like that?
is everything. It's the only thing on the arrow that actually guides it. For hunting, me personally, I like blazer. It's hard to beat a blazer. They're quiet, they're accurate, and they're very consistent. For target archery, I'll do something like this, maybe like a shield cut, shorter, lower profile vane, mainly because I'm not shooting a big fixed blade or anything that I'm worried about, steering the front of the arrow. When I am shooting broadheads, I like to shoot blazers.
Okay, that's good. If that's what you recommend, then that's what we do.
Definitely.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, after looking at different colors of what they have in stock, we decided to go with pink because Raymond says he recommends using pink because you can see blood on it with binoculars, right? Is that,
well,
is that
as
correct?
far as a white wrap goes, I shoot
Okay.
pink because there's nothing else in the woods that color. If you see pink, it's 9 times out of 10, it's probably your arrow.
Good deal. That's
and
very
then
smart.
White wrap, I shoot it mainly just like you said. So if you're in the stand, you do get a complete pass through, which if we do our job right today, you should. I can see blood from the stand on the white wrap, which is awesome.
Okay, cool. Sounds good, man. That sounds like a plan.
Heck yeah.
There's a lot of debate on the internet about f.o.c.
Definitely.
And, it's something I've actually heard a lot when I was starting to research about bow hunting and archery and stuff. So I guess for the crowd, man, educate us, man. What is f.o.c?
Let's dig in. So you're right. It was a very hot topic online about 15%, 10%, 12%, all that fun stuff. I like to stay in between 10 to 15%. This arrow you see in my hand right now is around 13%. And for what I do, this is all I need. This is perfect.
Why is 13% an important number?
So, in fact, if you even go to, I think, Easton's website, they say don't get above 15%. And at first, I didn't really believe that. I wanted to build my own at 18, 19, 20%. And that's what I have here. So this arrow is 19% f.o.c. with 220 grains up front, 300 spine. Overall, a very lightweight arrow, but all the weight is stacked up front. As much as I wanted to shoot these this year, I couldn't get the accurate and consistent flight like I thought I was going to. So I dug deep again and found this arrow, which we're going to be playing with today. This is the Axis, once again 5mm match grade. I didn't go quite as steep on the weight on this one. We stayed at the 175 mark, and to me that has just been for overall the best results. I get maximum f.o.c, good penetration, and great broadhead flight.
So f.o.c is more meaning towards better penetration, right?
Correct.
In the long
yeah.
run. That's pretty much what it means,
what it
right?
equates to generally, yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
And also too, I have seen that it makes your fixed blades fly a little better. I mean, if you're a mechanical shooter, it's not the end of the world if you have high f.o.c or not, but if you're going to shoot a fixed blade, I do recommend a little bit of f.o.c. to get some good, stable broadhead flight.
Would you say f.o.c. gives you better groupings too, or it can contribute
definitely.
to better groupings?
From what I've seen, yes, definitely.
Gotcha. Okay. Interesting stuff, man. Really good stuff. So what do you have right here on this website?
So this is actually a pretty cool program that we have here at the shop. It's called Archer's Advantage. And it takes a lot of the guesswork out of building an arrow. You can go through, pick your exact arrow. So right now we're on Axis match grade 5 mils. Your spine. You put in your description of your bow, your arrow length, your point weight, the poundage you plan on shooting, and it tells you right here on this chart if the arrow is going to tune out of your bow. So as you can see, we are right down the center in the green for optimal spine strength.
And this is my specifics you already put in?
Yeah, this is your exact bow, the
Dude,
V3,
that's crazy.
Your poundage, your draw length, your arrow length. So before we even touch an arrow, I know what spine I want to put you in and know what front weight and everything. It makes my job 10 times easier.
That's crazy, man. Technology.
It's awesome. It is really cool.
So I'm right in the optimal green, huh?
Yep.
Okay.
Right down the center.
Green is good.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we're hoping for. And we'll find out pretty quick because we're actually going to take this bow with this arrow after we get a few fletched, and we're going to go shoot through paper.
Sweet, man. Perfect.
And really, really tune it.
All right, man. Here you go.
We've got the full dozen that Pamela just
looks...
fletched for us. White wrap, pink veins. And now we get to insert them.
That looks nice.
Yeah, these came out really good. We will have to break off these inserts to make them, instead of 75, we want the 50 total. But before we do that, I want to go have you draw your bow real quick. And I'm going to mark it at full draw so we know what length we're going to cut it.
All right, let's do it.
Awesome. That's all we're doing. Perfect. All right, you're good. But basically where that mark is right at the front of your riser. So that puts the broadhead and everything away from your fingers and away from the bow. Because believe it or not, if you get a broadhead that is too big and your arrow is too short and it hits the riser right here, it'll unknock your arrow at full draw and you don't realize it and you dry fire your bow, even though it wasn't intentional.
And that's not good.
No, we're not going to do that. So let's measure our mark here and just see where we ended up. Generally, I like to measure from the throat of the nock, so that's what we're going to do. We are just a touch over 28 inches, which is right where we wanted to be. All right, so we've got our mark. Now we're ready to do some cutting. We ended up with going a little longer. That way this bow or this arrow can be shot out of 2 bows, so we made them 28.5 inches. And this is actually the tool that we use. FMJs, Axis, all use what call it a hit insert. It actually is recessed in the arrow a little bit. So this little tool pushes that insert to the correct depth every single time. All right, so we got them cut. The first step I'm gonna do is basically just a piece of sandpaper is what it is. I'm just gonna put the arrow, there's a little notch on the top of it. We're just gonna set the arrow on there and just give it a couple of good spins. You'll actually see what it's taking off. And that's just gonna make your fill points and your broadheads fit that much better in the arrows. Just taking out that little lip that gets left behind from the saw. To do arrows right, it's not a quick thing.
So probably a lot of people are wondering, what are these, man? What are these?
So these are 75 grain brass inserts from Easton. You can see that they are notched right there. So if you don't want to shoot that much front weight, you got to think if you leave that on there, you're going to have a 100 grain point 9 times out of 10, and you're going to have another 75 grains on the insert. So what I do in this situation, we don't want 75, we want 50. So we're going to attach it right there and break it off, and now we have an even 50 grain insert that we're going to put in the arrow. And we'll do that with all of them so they all match.
And when you purchase these axes, is it important that you have to put these into the arrow? For a beginner that doesn't know.
Most people don't, just because they don't know what f.o.c. does and its benefit. We like to use them mainly, just like we talked about earlier, the higher f.o.c. The traditional insert that comes with an axis is about 16 grains. You got to think we're adding definitely a decent amount of weight up front, which is going to lead to better broadhead flight.
Gotcha. Makes sense, dude. All right, Raymond, I know you talked about fletching earlier. Some people are wondering about helical. I've heard a lot about helical. What can you tell me about helical?
So generally on all my hunting arrows, and you'll see if you look down this arrow and these blazers, you'll see there is a turn to it. I shoot a 2-degree helical on just about all of my rigs just you want something to create that spin initially out of the bow. You don't want 3, 4, 5 degree helical because then it spins too much and actually hurts you more than it helps you. So we went with 2 degree on this rig.
That is super interesting to know, man.
All right, so we're gonna mix up some epoxy. Mix it up as good as you possibly can. It'll kind of turn cloudy on you. But it has a hole in the back. So when you mix your glue, you gotta be careful not to really dip it in and let it run down because it will get in those threads and it is impossible to put your field points or broadheads in after that. So another cool thing about these brass inserts, once you break them off, there's still not a hole there. So I don't have to be careful of getting it on the threads. It's completely protected. And you'll notice I actually took the knock out of this arrow. What that does is it allows the air to escape. If I put this insert in without taking out the knock, not all the time, but there is a good possibility that it traps an air pocket in there and you cannot, it'll push that insert back out. So we just went ahead and took the knocks out to make it easier and we don't have anything to worry about it. So once I clean it up, I get it right there, you can push the rest of it in and then just take it and ring it and you'll see all that stuff comes off. And then I can, from there, I can push that insert in, give it one little twist, pull out. That arrow is good to just sit there and dry.
After briefly waiting for the epoxy dry, we finally got one set up. Got the knock on, got the field point, field tip, whatever you want to call it on. We're gonna weigh it and see exactly what we're looking at right now.
Here should be somewhere in the 450 range.
459.2.
Perfect. That's a really good weight. Anything North America, elk, whitetail, pigs, this arrow will do.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we got one arrow. We're going to start paper tuning it and make sure it's efficient and it's shooting bullet holes. That's the goal. So really excited because I actually haven't gotten this done yet. And that's one thing I really wanted to do, but the other shop didn't get to do it. But this shop does.
We want this paper as tight as we can get it without it ripping. That way we get the cleanest, most legible read.
Right here, right?
Yep, that should be perfect. You just don't want to get too far back from the paper because your fletching will actually take over. Essentially, if you shoot an arrow at 20 yards out of an untuned bow, it still should probably shoot a bullet hole because the fletching's done its job.
Right.
At this distance, you're getting an actual reading of what the arrow's doing before the fletching corrects it.
Gotcha. All right, here we go.
Just try and make the best shot you possibly can.
You're talking to the noob, man.
Mainly grip. You know, focus on the grip. You know, don't squeeze. Just nice push-pull. It's pretty good for our first shot.
Does that look good?
It looks really good. We've got a little bit of elevation to get out and just a touch of left and right. So overall, not a bad tear for the first shot. We'll get it better. In fact,
you think that was because of me, or do you think?
No, well, we'll shoot it again, and if you get the same tear, then I know it's the bow. And if you start getting a tear going this way, that way, then we've got some form issues. But you look good to me, so I don't think that's the case. Also, too, so for a lot of people, they don't know what this means. What this is if you look right here to the point of it, that's where the arrow is actually hitting, and then it kicks down this way. And if you look right there on our little cheat sheet, it tells you what the arrow's doing and how to correct it. So if it's a knock right, you're going to move the rest to the left and opposite it for a left tear. It's just a little quick cheat sheet.
Cool, man, cool.
Let's do one more.
So this is all that's involved with paper tuning, huh?
Yes, yeah. Shoot through paper until we achieve the tear we're happy with, which we're not selling for anything less than a bullet hole. And you kind of have to be that picky if you want to shoot fixed blades at any distance. I don't care if it's 20, 30, 40.
So it's imperative to get that built.
Very important.
But some people don't believe that.
No, it's something we don't skip. Good shot. Looks very similar. Yeah, that's pretty consistent. So you're doing your job. Now we've got to make you and the bow get along better. And that's perfect. Same tear, not quite as magnified, but same tear.
Sweet.
So now we make our adjustments.
What do you recommend?
So with the tear we're getting, if you go to that cheat sheet, it says move it a little bit right and a little down because we want a slightly knock high. So I'm going to move the rest just a touch to the right. This is what's cool about this particular rest. This integrated rest is you can micro tune this thing. So once I've got that bolt loose, I click it clockwise, and I say just going to push it to the bow, so it's moving the rest to the right, which is what we want. Just did a couple clicks. We're just going to do a little bit at a time. And then same thing for elevation. We've got a bolt here and a knob there for your elevation. So this is your locker. Loosen that up clockwise to make it go down just a little bit. And now we'll shoot it again through paper and see where we ended up.
And when did you say that when you need to start adjusting stuff like right here?
So if we would have gotten a much larger knock tear left and right, we would have actually changed the top hats in that cam to move the cam left and right instead of the rest. Because ideally, I don't like to leave true center of the bow. I'm okay with moving the rest a little bit left and right, a little bit up and down, but not big giant movements. If you are doing big giant movements, usually there's something wrong with the grip, the arrow selection, something.
Gotcha.
It's looking pretty good. We've got still just a little bit of elevation there, but you can see it's starting to look more like a bullet hole.
Yeah, compared to this one.
Yes, so just in one shot, that's what we shrunk down to. So obviously, we're going to do the same thing we just did. Not quite as much, because it's almost there. It's so close. I think we're definitely on the right track. And that's kind of why I wanted to check your timing too, because that can lead to a tear like that if the bottom or top cam is hitting before the other. It'll have an elevation tear like that sometimes. In your case, your timing was good, so we're going to move the rest. A little bit more down and that tear will come right out. Like I said, we just do a little bit at a time here and there. Perfect hole. And you've got 3 lines for your fletching. Ultimately, that's what we're looking for.
Well, let me zoom out here. This is what we started at.
Yep.
You can tell that
was the first tear. This was a second shot without any movement, just to confirm that we were doing everything consistently. I believe this was the third shot. Still a little bit of elevation, a little bit of knock tear. And same thing there, a little less magnified. And this is kind of where we ended up.
And this is looking pretty good. Just minute little differences or adjustments.
Yep, nothing. You're not moving the rest one way extreme or another. Just small adjustments until you walk it into where you want to be, and that way you don't have to do any backtrack.
Perfect.
Yeah, that looks really good.
Okay, hopefully this did it. The bottom right was my last shot right here.
And that one looks pretty good too.
Dude, that's a bullet hole, man.
That's about as good as it gets.
That is a bullet hole, Raymond.
Yeah, man.
That's a bullet hole, bro.
Heck yeah.
That means it's tuned and ready to go. Broadhead, fixed broadhead.
That's what we work for.
Now will raccoon break it?
Got your... No, I don't think a raccoon's gonna break this arrow.
All right, last step, guys. We got it tuned. It's shooting a bullet hole, as you saw. I mean, the proof is in the video itself. The last thing I want to do is I want to see how fast my arrow is going. Right now, I'm thinking, based on that computer calculation, we got, what, 270?
That's what it was saying, a good ballpark.
270.
I think that would be really good if we get there.
Yeah, I'm thinking maybe 260 is probably what I'm looking at, but let's see if I'm wrong. 459 grain arrow, right?
Yep.
Okay.
459.
Let's see how fast it goes. A lot of guys actually love seeing how fast arrows
Oh yeah,
right?
yeah.
That's a big deal.
It's a huge question we get asked a lot. Do you have a chronograph? And we definitely do. The only thing is with this one, for whatever reason, whatever it says on the block, we're going to add 6 feet to that.
Okay, sounds good.
We've compared it to multiple other chronos, and it's, for whatever reason, 6 feet slow.
So we're going to shoot it straight as
Directly
possible.
through the center, yeah,
Okay.
centered as possible.
All right, here we go.
Let's take a look. Should give you your number right there. So that program's pretty accurate, within a couple feet.
269 plus 6, you said, right? 69.
And the program was saying 270-ish. So it's not right on the money, but it is dang close.
That is a pretty quick moving arrow,
Yeah,
man. I mean, that's
yeah.
really thought it was
for
going to be
460 grains, the amount of
Yeah.
kinetic energy you're going to have out of that is going to be about the 75-pound kinetic energy mark, which is more than enough.
That's crazy. I'm actually, like I said, I was expecting 250, 260-ish.
Yep. I'm
getting
really happy with
270.
that.
I'm really,
for this
that's
weight arrow, that's pretty impressive. And they got the power out of this V3, that's for sure. Those
Raymond,
cams are
you're the man.
efficient. I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Now I just need to go kill something, right? Everything's
Yep.
on me now.
Hey,
the bow is running good.
You will will be hooked. If you already aren't, I know you are.
I really hope you enjoyed this video and was really geeked out by all the technical stuff Raymond showed us. I mean, I learned a lot as a beginner. I'm pretty sure if you're a seasoned or veteran bow hunter, archer, whatever the case may be, all the information is probably, you put back in the back of your head. You don't think about, but it probably was brought out.
No, it's everything we went over today is questions we get asked all day, every day. That's what we're here. That's what we do.
If you're interested in this Texas Archery shop, all the information is in the link below. Check them out. Show them some love. Let them know that you saw this video and you came over and you were really highly intrigued and interested about the services they can deliver. But yeah, thank you so much, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.